What is going on, YouTube? Today I have an absolute banger of a video for you guys today. As many of you know, I'm actually in college and it is currently finals week, but as it turns out, it looks like I showed up to my final a little bit, well, early to say the least. So we're gonna jump into some motorcycle stuff I've been meaning to talk about with you lately. And yeah, make sure you sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of today's video. Let's get into it. After dragging myself out of bed this morning for my French and invertebrate history final, I was scrolling through my For You page and lo and behold, I come across this video. This was a video posted this morning to TikTok by REZX6R. As of recording this video has around 7,000 likes on TikTok. And to give a brief summary of this video and the other ones that he's posted in reference to me, he's making the argument that I've personally used my platform to make claims that people should not be using their motorcycle in an illegal fashion. He's calling me a hypocrite since there are, well, multiple well-documented instances of me breaking the law on my bike. Most commonly on my Instagram in the form of wheelies. But I've also been pulled over for alleged speeding offenses and other things. I should honestly have a whole playlist dedicated to how many times I've been pulled over. So given that perspective, you would think that would make sense, correct? This is the argument that this guy has provided to his audience on TikTok. And so far, a lot of people in the comments are believing it. So let's provide a little bit of background. Those of you who are subbed know that the past couple of days, I was in a little bit of internet beef with another content creator. They posted how they got into some legal trouble because of motorcycle content that they were posting. And since this event was happening in the online space, in the online motorcycle space, I used it as an opportunity to try to educate people who don't know the fact that crimes posted to the internet can and will absolutely be used against you in court. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of people who already know this, but I don't think it should come to a surprise that there are a lot of people who don't know that. I don't think it's that crazy of an opinion to have. There have been countless documentations of people uploading crimes to the internet in which they're subsequently caught and then punished in the court of law. Now, let's not get things twisted. I'm in no position to take any sort of moral high ground when it comes to this stuff. Nobody's going grocery shopping on a sport bike, you know what I mean? I think it's absolutely fair to say that I'm a degenerate when it comes to riding my motorcycle around the area. Now, when I do ride my motorcycle, I do try to pick and choose when I do open up the throttle. I try to put the least amount of people at risk as possible, and I try to pick areas that nobody's going to be the wiser if I do something or mess something up. And of course, I'm not dumb enough to actually record and post actions like excess unsafe speed and variable conditions like traffic, or especially running from the cops. Little story for you, when I crashed my Panigale V4, one of the first things the cops did was take my GoPro. And you can guess it, they were checking for illegal speeding. But those of you who have been watching my page for a long period of time, I think you can guess that they didn't find anything on it. And they gave me the camera back while I was laying in the hospital. I don't record myself doing dumb things. It's just not smart. My point is that people should absolutely ride their bikes the way that they're intended to be ridden. People spend tens of thousands of dollars on their motorcycle. I'm not going to sit here and tell people how they should ride, but I think that the motorcycle community, especially those on TikTok and Instagram, could think way more critically about how they go about these things. Now again, with all of this being said, I would never actually advocate for people putting themselves or others in danger. Saying that, oh, people should be able to enjoy their bike the way that they intended is not the same as, oh, let me just go speed through traffic on my own. Even though I'm not recording it, oh, it's, he said it's allowed. No, again, there's time and place. Without getting too philosophical, if a tree falls in the forest and nobody is around to hear it, did it actually fall? If a man pops a wheelie or speeds in the middle of nowhere with nobody around, did he even break any laws? Police officers don't make the laws, they simply enforce them. So allow me to present you with two scenarios. This first scenario takes place with a lot of pedestrians around. This motorcyclist decides to pop a wheelie in front of all these people to try to look cool. And while doing so, ends up flipping his bike over and hitting one of the pedestrians, hurting not only himself, but the pedestrian that literally had nothing to do with this event. The second scenario is going to be out in the middle of nowhere, about an hour from any large civilized area. The motorcyclist maybe wheelies, or maybe he doesn't. Nobody is around to know, and so nobody will ever care. Running from the cops, weaving through traffic, and popping wheelies in populated areas with pedestrians is, a lack for a better words, stupid. And again, I'm not trying to take any moral high ground. I've been young and dumb before. I get it. Have I done any of these things? I don't know. My memory's a little bit fuzzy after the crash. I could tell you, I'm not saying I've been intelligent the entire time, but I think as adults that we're incapable of reason. It's fair to say that posting running from the cops and posting excess speed is dumb, clear cut and dry. But hey, if you disagree, I implore you to get scientific. You can absolutely prove me wrong by posting that stuff, but just don't be surprised if it backfires. On top of all this, cops are absolutely getting better and learning how social media actually works. These days, these cases are seemingly popping up more and more. While it could be a case that people are getting dumber on social media, which is, it wouldn't surprise me that that's the real possibility, but police departments now have entire wings and sections of their departments dedicated solely to finding criminals who post themselves on the internet. Hold on, I hear you say. That definition, criminals, speeding is not a real victim crime, right? I think the majority of bikers and car enthusiasts believe that speeding is not a true crime because in the vacuum, it's victimless. And again, I'm not trying to morally high ground anybody. I've just as much fun on my motorcycle as anybody else. Speeding in a car and on a motorcycle in a vacuum, like I said, is not a victim crime. Popping a wheelie out in the middle of nowhere, hitting some twisties, or riding hard in a vacuum doesn't hurt you or a soul. You're completely in a green as far as I'm concerned. And same goes for most police departments. Most normal police officers that I meet, if they catch you doing a wheelie in an empty parking lot practicing on your own without anybody else around, I think that a reasonable police officer would see that and let you go for that. I've been let go for it personally. Of course, there's going to be mean cops out there. I mean, we've seen countless examples of that. But again, we were trying to talk about reasonable adults who can think critically. I don't think there's going to be a cop in the world that would even blink twice at that. However, posting videos of weaving in and out of traffic might attract more attention. Despite popular belief, there actually have been well-documented cases of motorcycles hurting people in cars if they're going fast enough. And in some tragic cases, they have hurt people worse who are just walking on the road. Despite their small size, motorcycles are still giant hunks of metal compared to people. They can still hurt people. And so even though you may not have hurt anybody in the video of you speeding, if everybody went around driving like that, traffic fatalities would go crazy. So I'm not saying I necessarily agree with how bikers are traditionally treated in the eyes of the law, but I can also empathize with the perspective of normal people looking on the outside into our hobby. Now, hopefully, with all of that being said, I hope people can clearly understand the message that I'm trying to spread. Now, of course, a little disclaimer, I always try to advocate for people following the law. Try to stick to tracks if you really want to have some fun on your bike, but I truly think that someone like this guy Ari knows exactly what I'm trying to stand behind, but is purposefully misunderstanding my message with the assumption that his average viewer is not going to take the time to watch and understand what I'm trying to say. He's intentionally twisting my message with malicious intent to essentially use my name for clout, given that, he's made quite a handful of videos about me at this point. None of his videos actually have any substance to them. They're all just these thirst trap style lip sync videos with a caption that intentionally misleads people. It's shameful. The internet shouldn't be used as a weapon, especially not when you're being disingenuous. Now, with everything being said in this video, I hope you guys enjoyed today's topic. This was a real hoot to sit down and talk for a little bit, so for those that made it to the end, extra love to you. I hope you guys had a good one, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.